Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bible Talks on Bikes. This week, I want to share a verse out of Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. It says, "Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you'll be prosperous and successful." So I like this verse, and let's jump on a bike and talk about it.
The reason this verse has been on my mind and why I wanted to share it is last week I went on a trip with like a group of guys on this like men's retreat type of thing for up like hiking up in the mountains. And before the retreat started, the guy who was leading it prayed and said, like assigned us all each a verse, and he said, while we go on this hike, to obviously socialize, but whenever there's like a moment to keep rereading this verse that he assigned to each of us and to think about it, and once we're at the top we would share our thoughts and what stood out to us about this specific verse. And this is the verse that he assigned to me. After reading this verse, I kept thinking about it, and aside from the part where it says, keep this word on your lips, which kind of goes back to a video I've done previously talking about being conscious of the things that I say and the things that come out of my mouth. The part that really stood out to me was it saying to meditate on it. And that got me thinking about what I have recently been meditating about, or not meditating, but like spending my energy thinking about. And I realized that for the last couple of weeks, I haven't exactly been, happy with where I am in life. Not that I'm unhappy with life. It's just that the things I kept thinking about was, what can I do to be further in life? What can I do to be more successful, make more money? And constantly thinking about what I can do to progress in life, financially and career-wise. And I realized that I hadn't been spending nearly enough time thinking about what I can be doing to grow spiritually. So all my time is being spent on the material thing, like meditating on the material things in life instead of the spiritual things. So that part of the verse kind of made me realize that I was spending time focusing on the wrong things in life, that I should be spending more time thinking about the spiritual, how I should be growing spiritually and getting spiritually stronger and closer to God. Because another thing that came to mind is that for me to wake up, let's say 30 minutes early, an hour early, to make it to the office earlier and go to work earlier to get more work done, I'm able to do it. But when it comes to waking up 30 minutes early to read the Bible, I kind of push it off and say, oh, I'll read the Bible later in the day. And then you get busy and distracted, and then the end of the day comes around and I think, oh, okay, well, I'll just read the Bible tomorrow. And next thing you know, I haven't read the Bible in a couple of days. So I realized that I've been putting the materialistic things in life well ahead of my spiritual life. And the funny thing is, this verse kind of answers the question that I had been meditating on, what can I be doing to be more successful? The ending of it says that if you do this, as in meditate on the word, and spend more time growing spiritually and spending more time with God, you will be successful and prosperous. So what's funny is that the question that I had been pondering or spending so much time meditating on, which is how can I be more successful or prosperous or whatever, the answer was actually in this verse. And the answer is to do the exact thing that I had been neglecting to do in pursuit of this success, this said success, right? And that is to spend more time on the spiritual life versus the materialistic part of my life. To spend more time reading the Bible, praying in prayer, spending more time growing spiritually and getting closer to God. And in the end, that would bring me success where I need it. I just found it interesting that was the verse that was assigned to me. And that was the verse that kind of answered the questions I had and showed me that I was focusing on the wrong things in life, that I need to readjust my focus and spend more time with God, and all the other things will come in time. And it reminded me that God loves me and He'll bless me, and I need to focus on growing spiritually before anything else. But that's the most important part. So I'd love to hear what you all think about this verse. Feel free to comment Thank you all for listening and watching. Hope to see you in the next video. God bless.